गुड मॉर्निंग माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स। बेटा कैसे हैं आप सभी लोग? होप यू आर डूइंग वेल एट योर एंड एंड safe at your home. So I welcome you all to the second session on chapter number 10, budgetary control. है ना बेटा? चलिए. So how many students are online now? Naveen Kumar, good morning बेटा. Nisha Manikantan, good morning बेटा. So let's first revise beta the topic which we have studied in the first session on 25th of Jan related to chapter number 10, budgetary control. First of all, we have started with the very basic budget. Budget, what is budget? Budget is an estimation of future specified income and expenditure. But the chapter name is budgetary control. So, budgetary control is a much broader term as compared to the budget. Budgetary control involves the preparation of budget. Once the budget are prepared, they will fix the responsibility and authorities. Who will be the responsible? Who will be the accountable managers? After that, at the end of the year, budgetary control compares the actual one with the budgeted one to find out the deviation, if any, and take corrective action. So budgetary control is a much broader term as compared to the term budget. In fact, budgetary control includes the preparation of budget. After that, a very, very important topic, control system. These are the two words through which you can identify in your examination paper whether the concept of feed forward or feedback control system is applicable or not. What are those two words? Control system. There are two types of control system in budgetary process, feed forward and feedback control system. Feedback control system is operative once the error has taken place. Feedback control system is operative once the error has taken place, while feedback control system is operative before that error has taken place. This is the major difference between feed forward and feedback control. Now, another important difference is given in the definition given by Chartered Institute of Management Accountant London, that in feedback control, it's the measurement of differences. याद आ रहा है आपको ये word बेटा? Measurement of differences between plan and actual output. While in case of feed forward control, it's not the measurement, it's the forecasting of differences, because that event has not yet happened. We are just taking precautionary steps so that if the event is materialized, the negative impact can be kept to a minimum extent. Okay, beta. This is feedback and feed forward control system revision. Next, we have started the topic effect of budget difficulty on performance. So what level you will give to each manager, that depends on its personality, that depends on organizational value and culture. But one thing is sure, the budget difficulty should not be an easy one, because it will not provide the necessary incentive for the manager to push towards the organizational goal. Neither it should be too difficult. In case it is considered to be too difficult, then even performance will not be maintained. Performance will be drastically reduced. We already considered a diagram related to that. What budget difficulty is the best? It should be the challenging one. It should be the challenging one. Challenging budget are the most demanding budget where managers put their 100%. But if you want manager to perform better, those budgets should be considered by manager as their own personal budget. Now the question, when the managers will consider the budget as their own personal budget, definitely when they are involved in the budget setting process. Okay, beta? And a very, very good numerical question we have done in the last session regarding to the tour manager, Miss Maggie, in that the petrol cost, the revised petrol cost calculation is of utmost importance. In revised petrol cost, the price has almost doubled. So the calculation of revised petrol cost is the most important point of that particular question. Clear, beta? Chali. अब आते हैं बेटा अपन आज के लेक्चर में. वी विल स्टार्ट ऑन. देयर आर टोटल 4 टॉपिक इन दिस चैप्टर. 2 टॉपिक आर लेफ्ट फॉर टुडे सेशन. The topic are participation in budget setting process, whether to make participate the employees, the manager in the budget setting process or not, and a very, very simple but very important topic beyond budgeting. No. So definitely, beta, the remaining time of today's session will be dedicated to the basic of standard costing. As I already committed to you that if students are not comfortable, we will be having a separate session, to minimum 2-hour session on the basic of intercosting, so that the final level of standard costing will not create any problem to any student. Okay, beta. So please open page number. We are going to start a new topic on this chapter. Oh, please open beta page number 13. Page number 13 of your study material. Page number 13 of your study material. Page number 13 of your study material. So there are 2 approaches related to the participation. The first approach is do not involve the managers or the employees in the budget setting process. The budget difficulty, the budget details will be finalized by the top management only. There will be no interference whatsoever of the employees or manager who will execute those budgets. This is the first approach. Do not involve the employees in the participation process of making the budget. This is the first approach. The second approach is, yes, the person who will execute, who will be the responsible, who will have the responsibility to deliver the result, must be involved in the budget setting process. So there are 2 approaches in the participation in the budget setting process. The first one is known as top-down approach, means the budget details, the budget difficulty will be finalized by the top management and will be communicated to the executional team or operational team for its implementation. There is no role involved of employees of executional team in the budget setting process. The logical name is also known as imposed style. आपके ऊपर impose कर दिया गया है बजट, आपसे नहीं पूछा गया whether it is possible, what do you want, what do you expect. Nothing is to be asked. The top management has decided, just the operational team has to execute it, who has the responsibility to implement the budget. The second approach is bottom-up approach. The second approach is bottom-up approach. The logical name is participative approach. The logical name is participative approach. What we will do in this beta, the managers or the employees who are implementing the budget, who have the responsibility to implement the budget, will first prepare budget based on their knowledge. Will first prepare based on their knowledge, based on their need, and that budget will now be passed on to the top management for approval. Now that budget will be passed on to the top management for approval. Suggestion, if required, will be provided by the top management, and then the same budget will be executed by the operational team. That is known as bottom-up approach. So there are 2 approach beta, top-down approach, टॉप से डिसाइड होगा, और जो एग्जीक्यूशनल टीम है वही डिसाइड कर, वह इंप्लीमेंट करेगी. उनके पास कोई भी डिसीजन मेकिंग पावर नहीं था whenever the budget was implemented. The second one is bottom-up approach, means the operational team who is having the responsibility of implementing the budget will be given full autonomy to decide their budget on their own. Once the budget are prepared by them, the same budget will be forwarded to the top management for their approval. In the approval process, if there is any suggestion involved, the same suggestion will be incorporated and that budget will be finalized. Okay, so let's read it out beta from page number 13. There are 2 approaches to budgeting: the top-down approach and the bottom-up approach. Now we are talking about the top-down approach. Budget can be prepared centrally and subordinates have little influence on the target setting. Budget can be prepared centrally while the subordinate who are executing that budget will have little influence on the target setting. This called top-down budget और इम्पोव्ड स्टाइल बजट है ना. तो जब बजट सेंट्रली प्रिपेयर हो रहा है विदाउट एनी इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ द सबऑर्डिनेट और वी कैन से द मैनेजर हु इज implementing the budget, then that budget style is known as top-down approach or improved style approach. What is the benefit? The benefit of top-down approach is that it can be produced quickly and involve less management time than other option. सही भी ना बेटा, आपको किसी से भी नहीं पूछना है टॉप मैनेजमेंट को. Whatever they think the appropriate, they will implement it in the budget. There is no discussion involved. There is a full authority given to the centralized management. However, there are significant risks of inaccurate budget being set that are also not acceptable to the subordinate manager. The same thing we have studied in the last session in the topic effect of budget difficulty on performance. The very first line is, unless and until the budget are considered, the organizational budget are considered as the personal budget of the employees will not be motivated. So motivational factor is almost negligible in case of top-down approach. You can see the same process through a diagram. Senior management has allocated its budget to departmental manager. Departmental manager has allocated to the operational executional staff. There is no upward movement. That is known as top-down approach. Whatever the top management has decided, the operational team has to execute it at any cost. No, please write down in your copy, beta. Please write down. The first point लिखे, heading दे दीजिए आपने, participation in budget setting process. Give the heading first. Participation in budget setting process. Participation in budget setting process. There are, first point लिखिए, there are two approaches to budgeting. There are two approaches to budgeting based on the participation level. Based on the participation level. There are two approaches of budgeting based on the participation level. Write down the first point. इसमें first point में बेटा पहला सब point लिखे. Next line में top down approach. Top-down approach. Write down the second one, bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach. Top-down approach and bottom-up approach. A main second point लिखे बेटा. Give the heading. Top-down approach. Top-down approach. इसमें अब आप सब पॉइंट लिखे. सब पॉइंट नंबर 1. It is also known as imposed style approach. It is also known as imposed style approach. Sub point number 2 लिखे बेटा. Budget is prepared by the senior management. Budget is prepared by the senior management without the involvement of the employees without the involvement of employees in the budget setting process, without the involvement of employees in the budget setting process. For point number 3, the biggest disadvantage is इन्वर्टेड कॉमा में लिखिएगा मोटिवेशनल फैक्टर, इन्वर्टेड कॉमा में मोटिवेशनल फैक्टर, इन्वर्टेड कॉमा क्लोज, मोटिवेशनल फैक्टर, इन्वर्टेड कॉमा क्लोज ऑफ एम्प्लॉइज. That is, they will not accept the budget from their heart. दिल से वो बेटा एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगे, so the performance will not be there. They will not accept the budget from the heart. दिल से वो बजट एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगे. अब आते हैं अपन सेकेंड अप्रोच में. द सेकेंड अप्रोच इज नोन एज बॉटम अप अप्रोच. द अदर नेम इज मोर लॉजिकल पार्टिसिपेटिव अप्रोच. आइए बेटा पेज नंबर 13 में देखिए. अब आप एन अल्टरनेट टू टॉप डाउन अप्रोच इज फॉर द सबऑर्डिनेट मैनेजर टू पार्टिसिपेट इन द प्रिपरेशन ऑफ देयर ओन बजट एंड देन दिस बजट टू बी रिव्यूड बाय द सीनियर मैनेजमेंट. ये इंपॉर्टेंट है. वो अपना बजट खुद बनाएंगे एंड दैट बजट विल बी रिव्यूड बाय द सीनियर मैनेजमेंट. मतलब उन्हें इन्वॉल्व किया गया है डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेस में. दिस इज कॉल्ड एज बॉटम अप अप्रोच और समटाइम रिफर्ड टू एज पार्टिसिपेटिव अप्रोच. इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है, जो एम्प्लॉइज उस बजट को एग्जीक्यूट करेगा, द सेम एम्प्लॉइज विल प्रिपेयर इट्स डिपार्टमेंटल बजट, बट दैट बजट विल बी रिव्यूड बाय द सीनियर मैनेजमेंट to check whether such budget are in conformity with the organizational goal or not. If the senior management feel that some modification is required, they will request the modification on the part of the departmental manager who has prepared that budget. Okay. अब इसका बेटा आप डायग्राम देखिए. The diagram will provide more clarity. Budget holding staff, the staff who will execute the budget, will prepare the budget. They will submit their budget to the departmental manager. Departmental manager will submit the budget to the senior management. Budget किसने बनाया ultimately? The person who has the responsibility of implementing, executing that budget has prepared that budget. They have forwarded it to the departmental manager. Departmental manager has forwarded the same budget to the senior management. Now senior management, based on organizational goal, whether they will accept the budget or they will reject the budget. Once the budget are rejected, that budget will again go to the departmental manager. Based on the rejection point, they will work on that budget. And again, the same process will continue unless and until that budget will be accepted by the senior management. So, now if accepted by the senior management will communicate to the departmental manager and departmental manager will communicate to the budget holding staff that yes, with modification suggested by the senior management, the budget has been approved. But the biggest advantage of participative approach is the person who is executing the budget, implementing the budget, will have the will be involved in the participation process. They will set their target. Okay. So please write down in your copy, beta. Third main point likhe aap. Write down third main point. Bottom up approach. Bottom up approach. इसमें सब पॉइंट नंबर 1 लिखिए. इट इज ऑल्सो नोन एज, it's also known as participative approach. It's also known as participative approach. It's also known as participative approach. Second point लिखे. Second sub point beta. Budget will be prepared by the employees oblique manager comma, and thereafter it will be submitted to the top management, senior management, therefore, and thereafter it will be submitted to the senior management for review, and once approved by them, comma, they will be executed. The budget will be executed. ओके बेटा, लिखिए आपका. अब आप लिखिए थर्ड मेन सब पॉइंट. Third sub point, the biggest advantage of this approach is inverted comma में motivational level. Motivational level of employees. Inverted comma close beta. That is, employees will consider the budget as their own personal target. The employees will consider the budget as their own personal target. इसके अलावा और कोई एडवांटेज? यस, देयर इज आल्सो वन एडवांटेज बेटा, कि द पर्सन हु आर इंप्लीमेंटिंग द बजट are expert in their particular field. The person who are implementing the budget are expert in their particular field. So if the expert of a particular subject is preparing that budget, then definitely organizational will be benefited by that. So the first one will be the motivational factor, क्योंकि हमने बनाया है. Now they will take that budget as their own personal budget for implementation. The second one is, जो भी employees, जो भी manager है, they are expert in their field. Now that particular budget is being prepared by the expert, so definitely the accuracy will be more. But there are some serious disadvantage related to participative budgeting. The technical name of that disadvantage is known as budget slack. SLACK, budget slack. Suppose beta, consider the example of yours only. Suppose in your organization, in your articleship firm, the participative approach is there, that is bottom to top approach is there. Okay. There is a client in Goa. Suppose the stock audit is to be done. So the location is Goa. Now the process in your articleship firm is participative budgeting. Now you have been given full liberty. To decide number of days required to complete the assignment. Now tell me beta, whether you will estimate more number of days or less number of days. Suppose the work is of 4 days. Whether you will prepare the budget for 4 days, or you will consider an extra days, or you will consider the budget for 3 days. लगना चाहिए 4 days के आसपास. If you work, if you provide your 100%, the assignment can be completed in 4 days. But in your organization, the participative approach is there. You have to decide how many days are required to complete the stock audit in Goa. है ना? So how many days you will consider? 4 days, less than 4 days, or more than 4 days. Full liberty is being provided to you. Please communicate, beta. Please be very true to your answer, beta. ना जल्दी से मुझे बताइए. तो वही सबसे बड़ा डिसएडवांटेज है इस पार्टिसिपेटिव अप्रोच का. कोई ऑडिट है आपके पास बेटा गोवा में, वो 4 days में कंप्लीट हो जाना चाहिए लॉजिकली, बट in your organization the participative approach is there. As a senior article assistant, you have been given the liberty to decide the number of days that will be required for completing that audit. How many days you will consider? The standard is 4 days. You know that in 4 days it can be completed with 100% efficiency. अगर आप अपना 100% देंगे, so the audit can be completed in 4 days. But being a senior article, you have been given the responsibility of deciding the number of days. So how many days you will consider? Please communicate, beta. Okay, majority of the student has given the logic that they will consider more than 4 days. The logic is very simple, beta. The audit can be completed in 4 days with 100% efficiency. Suppose if the audit is not completed within 4 days, it takes 5 days. While you have set the target for 4 days, the approval has been received for 4 days, while actually it might be possible that the audit will require one more extra day, that is the 5th day. In that case, at the performance stage, your performance will be negative because the standard days, budgeted days are 4, while the actual days are more than 4 days. So there will be the adverse variance report. Therefore, whenever managers are involved to set their own budget, they will provide some relaxation. They will provide some relaxation that the same audit will be completed in 5 days. Now, the budget has been approved for 5 days, and now they will provide their more than 100% to get it completed within 4 days, so that at the performance stage, their performance will be better. They will show that, yes, we have conduct the audit at the same level, same quality level, but less than the budgeted day. This is something we call budget slack. मतलब जानबूझकर employees यहाँ पर अपने लिए cushion रखता है, so that if some efficiency is not there, if something not happen in the right way, then also their performance will not be adverse on the performance stage. Okay, beta, that is known as budget slack. Please write down next sub point. The biggest disadvantage निशा, हरीश, नवीन, सूर्या सभी ने बेटा बोला है कि मोर देन 4 days. डेफिनेटली इट्स द ह्यूमन टेंडेंसी बेटा, है ना. प्लीज राइट डाउन द बिगेस्ट डिसएडवांटेज the biggest disadvantage is, write down in inverted comma, budget slack. इसमें लिखिए व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय बजट फ्लैग. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं हिंदी में बोल देता हूं, देयर आफ्टर आई विल कम्युनिकेट इन इंग्लिश बेटा. खर्चों को ज्यादा बताना, खर्चों को, एक्सपेंस ऑब्लिक रिसोर्सेस को ज्यादा बताना, एंड इनकम्स को कम बताना. राइट डाउन इन इंग्लिश बेटा. Considering more expenses, more oblique resources in the budget, then what is required? and considering profit oblique revenue on the lower side. Full stop. Next line में लिखे, this will provide the employees the cushion to hide their inefficiency whenever performance is evaluated. ठीक है बेटा, चलिए। तो हमने दो अप्रोच पढ़ा अभी तक बेटा, टॉप डाउन अप्रोच एंड बॉटम डाउन अप्रोच। नाउ the important question is, which approach is the most suitable approach for organization? So the important point is, there is no single thumb rule that this approach will fit for all. Even in an organization, some budget can be prepared based on top-down approach. Some budget can be prepared based on participative approach, that is bottom-up approach. It depends on employees' personality. It depends on that departmental culture and norm, based on which organization will decide whether top-down approach is better or whether bottom-up approach is better for a particular department. So there is no fixed rule कि बॉटम अप अप्रोच हमेशा बेटर है या टॉप डाउन अप्रोच हमेशा बेटर है. Even there are many organizations who have implemented both the approach in their organization. For some employees, they have adopted the top down approach. For some employees, they have adopted the bottom up approach. है ना? तो बेटा अब आगे आइए आप. लिखिए आप नेक्स्ट पॉइंट कॉपी में. What are the situations? What are the factors? What are the factors which must be considered? Which must be considered before introduction of participative budget? What are the factors which must be considered before introduction of participative budget? तो बेटा आप एक काम कीजिए, ये वाला पॉइंट अपन ने लिखा है. फर्स्ट यू विल रीड आउट फ्रॉम पेज नंबर 14. द कंटेंट यहाँ पे पूरा दिया हुआ है. व्हेन टॉप डाउन अप्रोच इज प्रेफरेबल, व्हेन दे आर प्रेफरेबल बेस्ड ऑन द सिचुएशन. तो एक बार ये पूरा पैरा पढ़िए. यू आर हैविंग सफिशिएंट टाइम ऑफ 4 to 5 minutes टू रीड आउट द कंटेंट अवेलेबल इन पेज नंबर 14, है ना. एक बार आप पढ़िए और उसको बहुत बारीकी से रिटेन कीजिए. Thereafter we will discuss what are the points where participative approach is desirable and where top down approach is desirable, है ना. 4 to 5 minutes are available with you बेटा. One more minute if available with you, beta. Then we will start the discussion. Okay, beta. So one thing is very clearly given. There is no universal application. That this method is the only suitable method or this method is the only suitable method. There is no universal application. Every organization has to consider, decide on their own whether participative approach is better or the traditional approach, that is the top-down approach, is better. So whenever you consider the participative approach, different studies based on different points will provide you a guideline. The first one is personality. Employee's personality. If the employee is having a attitude, then definitely participative approach will not be acceptable, will not provide you the required result. If the employee personality is cooperative, it cooperate with each and every employee, it listens to its fault, then definitely the participative approach will provide you the required result. But in case the employees who are more authoritarian, means whatever they have said, that one is the correct, if that is the mindset of the employee, then definitely participative approach is not providing you the required result. Second, work situation. You have to check the work situation of your organization. Participative approach is not recommended in a highly programmed, means in automation industry and technologically constrained environment. If you are less of resources while the demand is more, then there is no need of participative approach. You can consider the top-down approach. Okay. Locus of control. Individual who have a low degree of control over their destiny, matlab the person who believes only and only in luck, not in hard work and smart work, will not provide you the result required for participative budgeting. Job difficulty, where job difficulty is low, there is no offense of involving the worker in the budget setting process. Budget can be prepared centralized. And in a centralized environment, where majority of the decisions are taken in head office, not at the departmental level. For different studies based on different points, will definitely provide you the criteria whether the top-down approach or the bottom-up approach is better. The same thing is given in top-down budget with some different, with same point but in different language. Okay, so if the personality of the employee is not authoritative, then definitely we will consider the bottom-up approach. If the employees are more authoritative, then definitely top-down approach is better. है ना? तो वो जो आपने heading लिखा है बेटा, प्लीज लिख दीजिए कंटेंट अवेलेबल इन पेज नंबर 14. कंटेंट अवेलेबल इन पेज नंबर 14. अब आइए बेटा, एक केस सिनारियो है इसके ऊपर बेस्ड ऑन पेज नंबर 15. पेज नंबर 15 में आइए. बॉटम अप्रोच और टॉप डाउन अप्रोच जो भी आपने पढ़ा, नाउ इट्स टाइम फॉर इट्स एप्लीकेशन. दे विल नॉट आस्क यू द थ्योरेटिकल क्वेश्चन ऑफ व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय बॉटम अप अप्रोच, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय पार्टिसिपेटिव अप्रोच. नाउ दे हैव गिवन यू अ क्वेश्चन केस सिनेरियो in which you have to apply your knowledge of bottom up approach and top down approach. Okay beta, so what we will do, we will read out this question combinedly first, then I will provide you sufficient time of 4 to 5 minutes to think on your own whether in this particular question top-down approach has been applied or the bottom-up approach has been applied. Let's start the question, beta. Established in the year 1997, Excellent Woodcraft Private Limited, now known as EWPL, is one of the distinguished manufacturers and supplier of an unlimited array of wooden furniture items. So important point are, my company name is EWPL. I'm in the manufacturing of wooden furniture. Product compilation comprises of modular furniture, workstation, cafeteria furniture, etc. Moreover, it is also engaged in presenting furniture services that include interior fit out, office exterior, corporate interior designing. In other words, beta, all type of wooden furniture products are available with the company. Since inception, since 1997, it has tried to proffer an excellent blend of optimum quality and price and successfully established the company as the preferred choice of customer in the past year. Based on its quality and its optimum price, company has been recognized as one of the most trusted brand in the industry. This is the reason that its product and services are applauded in the industry for its flawlessness. So first para is basically about the history of the company. The company has started its operation in 1977. The name of the company is EWPL. The company is engaged in wooden furniture. What type of wooden furniture? Each and every type of wooden furniture they are providing. Company has always opted for optimum quality and optimum price, and it gives a distinguished indication to the customer that yes, this company is providing you the optimum quality with the best optimum price. Therefore, company has been one of the recognized company established in the wooden segment. The customer applauded the company for its product and services. Now, second para. At the company level, a world-class infrastructure is set up with different types of latest technological-based machines and equipment, which provide great support in hassle-free production and storage of the preferred assortment. Beside the spacious workplace, it has recruited a team of skilled and experienced professionals who are magnificently trained to understand and meet the diverse client requirement within the committed time period. So technology ke level pe bhi inhone latest technology they have implemented, and they have recruited a team of skilled and experienced professionals who are well trained to understand the need of the client, and after that they will manufacture that product within the stipulated time frame. It aims to attain complete client satisfaction and put in its best efforts to achieve the same by offering outstanding product range and feasible service. है ना बेटा? You are studying the budgetary control chapter. Right now, in the first two para, there is no content regarding the budgetary control. Now, important point, company's budgeting process for sales. Now the topic content is now been provided in the form of certain point. What is the budgeting process of company for the sales department? Each sales girl makes a customer-wise listing of sale for the last few years. Please read it out very carefully, beta, because this point are the most important point regarding the budgetary control. Every sales girl will prepare a customer-wise listing of sale for the last few years. How many customers are there? What quantity they have purchased? What are their purchasing pattern? Each and every detail will be prepared by the sales girl. Based on this information and her knowledge about customer requirement, she determine an overall sales goal. So जो वो अभी तक customer wise listing करते हैं, and based on their knowledge regarding the customer requirement, those sales girl will prepare a sales target, that is the budget. The sales manager, W robot, gather all this information and modifies it a bit. ये जो भी गोल टारगेट सेट किया, जो भी बजट उन्होंने अपने लिए बनाया है, each sales girl will forward the budget to the sales manager named as W robot, who gather this information and modifies a little bit based on his knowledge. Particularly, the sales manager look at variance in sales growth and modifies low projection to be line in with the average. Just we read the term beta, budget flag. तो एक्सपेंसेस को एम्प्लॉय ज्यादा बताएगा और इनकम को कम बताएगा, तो जो सेल मैनेजर है डब्ल्यू रोबोट, व्हाट ही विल डू, he will check whether budget flag has been introduced by the sales girl. If budget flag has been introduced by the sales girl, it will modify that and to be in line with the average. He of course discussed this correction with the concerned sales girl. The usual approach is to hold up the other forecast and attribute lack of sales growth to lower talent. ठीक है. So सबसे पहले sales girl ने अपना budget बनाया. The sales girl have forwarded its budget to the sales manager W robot. W robot will check whether the budget has been prepared with the budget flag. If yes, it will modify a little bit so that the budget flag will be removed. The sales manager W then meets with J. Donald, marketing manager. By this time, the managing director already back out already back out of a sales expectation for the next year based on a desired profit. Managing director discussed the overall target with the sales manager W robot. The usual result is 7 to 10% increase in projected sale, which the sales manager allocate among the sales girl based on their past performance. Intentionally, beta, I am not interpreting this point because based on this point, you will decide whether the company is following the top-down approach or the bottom-up approach. Intentionally, just have a read out point number 3. Point number 4. Of course, managing director desire that the sales manager discuss and negotiate any alteration with the sales force. He believes that with appropriate logic, not high, but attainable target for a sales team can be met. Now, the first requirement part is discuss the participative nature of the sales budgeting process at company. आपको बताना है participative nature का क्या level है, whether the budget is being prepared by top-down approach or whether the budget is prepared by bottom-up approach. Please take your time, beta. Don't think on a hurry, है ना? जल्दबाजी में आपको अपना डिसीजन नहीं देना है. You don't have to read out para number 1, para number 2, requirement part number 1 and requirement part number 2 have nothing to do with the requirement part number 1 and 2 have nothing to do with the first and second para. They are the generalized para. Important point is based on this 4 point, first of all, you have to decide whether the company has adopted the top-down approach or the bottom-up approach. Okay, beta. A complete 4 to 5 minutes are being provided to you to read out the 4 point once again, and then decide on your own whether the approach is really a top-down approach or whether the approach is really in true sense a bottom-up approach. Okay, beta. So 4 to 5 minutes are available to you to think on your own. Okay, Prajesh Kumar beta, let's wait for other student to revert so that we can start the final discussion. Student, please communicate your answer, beta, in case if you are done with the interpretation. Okay, I am waiting for your answer. Student, please communicate me with your answer, beta. What's your answer? As per Brajesh Kumar, it's top-down approach. Okay. As per Nisha, it's top-down approach. Okay. Naveen Kumar. Okay. As per Naveen Kumar also, it's top-down approach. Yes, beta. So the answer is correct, beta. Although it appears from point number 1 and 2 that the approach is the bottom-up approach, that the sales girl, that is the person who is ultimately executing the budget, is preparing the budget for her own department. But apart from point number 1 and 2, when the sales manager, Mr. W, approaches the managing director has already set out its expectation. Managing director has not considered what the budget level has been prepared by the sales girl or the sales manager. MD, managing director, have already prepared its mind that it will require a 7 to 10% increase in projected sale. The company will require such amount of desired profit. So no consideration is being done at the MD level regarding the budget prepared by the sales team or the manager W. And once the communication has been done with the sales manager is expected to convince the sales team that these are the appropriate target with appropriate logic so that they can implement the budget with full motivation. So point number 1 and 2 are indicating that it's a bottom-up approach, that is the participative approach, but clearly point number 3 and 4 suggest that no, it's not a bottom-up approach, it's a top-down approach because budget has not been considered. The budget prepared by the sales girl has not been considered by the management team, by the managing director. They already make their own estimate. They already make their own mind. Based on that, they have finally execute the budget. तो देखिए बेटा यही रिक्वायरमेंट पार्ट में आपको मिलेगा कि पार्टिसिपेटिव बजट का लग रहा है लेकिन ये पार्टिसिपेटिव बजट कहीं भी नहीं है. The company has adopted the top-down approach. Okay, बेटा. ये जो रिवीजन प्रोसेस है ना इनकी, there is little incentive for the sales girl to spend much time and effort in projecting the true expected sale because they know the target will be revised again and whatever the MD has selected will prevail. तो यहाँ पे कहीं भी बेटा हमारा बॉटम अप अप्रोच नहीं है, टॉप डाउन अप्रोच ही है यहाँ पे. ठीक है, चलिए. नाउ अब आप आइए एक और टॉपिक में बेटा, बियॉन्ड बजटिंग. Beyond budgeting. Beyond budgeting. Available, the topic is available in page number 18. Beyond budgeting. It's just opposite to traditional budgeting. Because of this limitation of traditional budgeting, a new method has been evolved right now known as beyond budgeting. Okay. First of all, I will share with you the company to whom the credit is gone for this new concept beyond budgeting. The company's name is Handelsbanken Bank. This bank has provided the concept of beyond budgeting. We have just studied, beta, there are two approaches of budgeting, the top-down approach and the bottom-up approach. In the top-down approach, the budget is being prepared by the senior management, okay, and those will be executed by the operational team. In the bottom-up approach, the budget will be prepared by the operational team, but it will be reviewed by the senior management. And if senior management think that some modification is required, definitely they will insist for that modification. In other words, senior management will have a role while setting the budget, whether through top-down approach or whether through bottom-up approach. But a bank known as Handelsbanken Bank has changed the approach of budgeting. They have treated their branch as a bank itself. Please repeat the word, beta. They have treated their branch as a bank itself. They have given full autonomy to the branch manager. They do not call the branch as a branch. They call the branch, you are the bank. Every branch is treated as a bank in the eyes of this management, handles bank and bank. They have been given full autonomy. The centralized team, the senior management team will not interfere in day-to-day operation of the branch. The branch manager is given full liberty to decide its own budget. No approval is needed for that. At the end of the year, just the senior management will compare whatever your actual performance is, that will be compared with the competitive performance, competitor's performance. And they will check whether your performance is better than that of competitor. But just wahi comparison hona hai. In the case of beyond budgeting, there will not be a comparison between the actual result with the budget prepared by the bank, prepared by the branch. Their performance will be evaluated externally. Whatever the actual performance is there, that will be compared with the competitor performance in that area. इनकी इंडिया में भी एक ब्रांच है बेटा, हैंडल्स बैंक एंड बैंक, एंड देन दैट ब्रांच इज सिचुएटेड इन मुंबई, है ना. तो हैंडल बैंक एंड बैंक ने ये कंसेप्ट दिया है आपको बियॉन्ड बजटिंग का. और एक बहुत बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट, देखिए इन्होंने इनकी वेबसाइट पे अगर अपन जा रहे हैं तो इन्होंने क्लियर कट बोला भी है रिगार्डिंग देयर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. अवर डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड मॉडल मींस दैट each branch operates as a local business. Every branch is a bank in itself, so that they can get to know their customer well and understand the local market and community. Important, our branches are empowered to make the key banking decision for our customer. We will not interfere into day-to-day business operation of our branches, because we have considered our branches as a bank itself. Every branch is a bank, है ना. So their performance will be evaluated at the end. Those will be compared with the competitor performance. Number of customers added, what is the average balance, what is the loan disbursed, what are the NPA ratio. So this will be compared with the competitor performance, and based on that, evaluation of branch manager will be done, है ना. So please write down beta the very first point. Give the heading first, beyond budgeting. Give the heading first beta, beyond budgeting. Please write down the very first point. This concept has been given by, please write down the bank name, Handels Bank and Bank. It's visible in the screen beta. From the screen, please write down. This concept was introduced by Handels Bank and Bank. Inverted comma में लिखिएगा Handels Bank and Bank. Full stop. Next line में लिखिए इसी में. They treat each and every branch. They treat each and every branch as a bank itself. As a bank itself. Full stop. They will not interfere in day-to-day business decision of the branches. Day-to-day business decision of the branches. पॉइंट वही चल रहा है बेटा. नेक्स्ट लाइन में लिखिए, branch are free to prepare their own budget. Branch are free to prepare their own budget without any approval from the senior management. Without any approval from the senior management. Without any approval from the senior management. Full stop. Their performance, branch performance will be evaluated branch performance will be evaluated at the year end. Branch performance will be evaluated at the year end by comparing the actual result of the branch with those of competitor performance. ठीक है बेटा, चलिए तो अब आइए देखिए बेटा, इसमें स्टडी मटेरियल में यहां पे आपको दिया हुआ है द लिमिटेशन ऑफ ट्रेडिशनल बजटिंग, है ना। फिर यहां पे दिया है व्हाई वी रिक्वायर अ मॉडर्न अप्रोच नोन एज बियॉन्ड बजटिंग। तो देखिए, बियॉन्ड बजटिंग जो है वो एक मोर एडॉप्टिव प्रोसेस है रादर देन ट्रेडिशनल बजटिंग, एंड इट्स अ डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड प्रोसेस where the branch manager will take all the key business decisions only and last evaluation will be done at the year end to check its performance with that of the competitor। तो देखिए, CIMA चार्टर्ड इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटेंट ने जो डेफिनेशन दिया है, एन आइडिया दैट कंपनीज नीड टू मूव बियॉन्ड बजटिंग बिकॉज ऑफ द इनहेरेंट फ्लॉज इन बजटिंग, स्पेशली व्हेन यूज्ड टू सेट द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट। It is argued that a range of techniques such as the rolling forecast and the market related target can take place of traditional budgeting। हम traditional budgeting में हमेशा क्या करते थे? We will compare the actual result with the budgeted one, while now there is a need to move beyond the traditional budgeting. Their actual performance will not be compared with the budgeted one because the market is dynamic, changing day by day, so their actual performance will be compared with the competitors performance। अगर हमारी ब्रांच ने हमारे कॉम्पिटिटर से बेटर परफॉर्म किया है, then definitely the performance will be applauded। ओके बेटा, फिर यहां पे आप जब आएंगे तो कुछ आपको कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स दिया है बेटा स्टेबिलिटी। नाउ इट्स अ कंप्लीट थ्योरेटिकल पॉइंट, नो नीड ऑफ एनी डिस्कशन फ्रॉम माय साइड, सो वेरी सिंपल टॉपिक बट वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक, बियॉन्ड बजटिंग। जस्ट यू हैव टू keep in mind that it is beyond the traditional budgeting level in which we compare the actual result with the budgeted one, while in beyond budgeting, actual result will be compared with that of competitors result, so that we can check whether our department, our manager has performed better that of competitor। That's all बेटा, है ना। चलिए बेटा, ये मैं आपको एक असाइनमेंट देता हूं बेटा। आपको क्या करना है, ये जो कुछ पेजेस में आपको कंटेंट दिया हुआ इन पेज नंबर 19, 20 एंड 21, यू विल रीड आउट ऑल दिस कंटेंट, है ना। बिफोर स्टार्ट ऑफ नेक्स्ट सेशन वी विल डेफिनेटली डिस्कस इफ यू आर हैविंग एनी क्वेरी रिलेटेड टू दिस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक बियॉन्ड बजटिंग। ठीक है बेटा, चलिए तो अब अपन एक काम करते हैं बेटा, वी विल टेक अ ब्रेक अर्ली and after that we will start the basic of standard costing। we will start the basic of standard costing that you have studied at inter level, because at final level in the study material there is no basic given related to the inter level। I say assume that a student will remember the topic studied at the inter level, but I have asked some of the students in the last session that whether you are comfortable with the standard costing. Majority of the students require a brush up related to that topic of standard costing, so we will provide a minimum 2-hour session for the basic of inter standard costing, so that whenever we will start the final topic of standard costing you will feel comfortable बेटा ना, क्योंकि बहुत ही important chapter है। if you go through the last a few attempts, 5 to 6 attempts, you will find a question on standard costing in almost each and every attempt, and that too with minimum 10 marks। so very important numerical chapter to score good marks बेटा ना। so let's take a break early, after that we will start the basic of inter, है ना, related to standard costing। ठीक है बेटा, चलिए ब्रेक लेते हैं अपन। we will meet at 8:25 sharp, है ना। 8:25 को अपन मिलते हैं बेटा, ब्रेक टिल 8:25। Okay. Welcome back, beta. Now, the remaining time of this session, we will utilize towards the chapter number 11, standard costing. Okay. So it's a full practical topic, beta. Full practical topic. Whatever you have studied at inter level, that will be 100% utilized at the final level. In the final level, we will study from advanced variance level, such as each and every variances.
Welcome back, beta. Now, the
you are comfortable with the word.
We will utilize towards.
You are comfortable with the word material price variance. Now, at final level, after calculating the material price variance, that material price variance will be bifurcated into two parts: planning variance and operational variance. We will check it out whether what percentage of variance is controllable and what percentage of material price variance is uncontrollable. We have studied a topic known as activity-based costing. So if an organization has already implemented activity-based costing, now how the variance related to overhead will be computed in that particular organization. We will learn out that. We have studied a topic known as learning curve. When the same person produces the same unit, every time the average time will be reduced. So in a learning curve environment, if a labor variance is to be computed, how labor variances is to be computed, that we will going to study in this point. After that, we will go to throughput accounting. आपको ये word याद आ रहा है बेटा? Throughput accounting. Remember कीजिए throughput accounting. एक टॉपिक हमने पढ़ा है theory of constraint का. थ्रूपुट अकाउंटिंग अगर एनवायरमेंट में अगर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने ऑलरेडी इंप्लीमेंट कर दिया है, हाउ स्टैंडर्ड कॉस्टिंग विल बी अप्लाइड इन दैट एनवायरमेंट, हाउ वेरिएंसेस विल बी कंप्यूटेड, दोस वी हैव टू कंसीडर. Apart from them, we have to reconcile the actual profit with the budgeted profit. We are having three methods related to that reconciliation. So very, very interesting and very important, most importantly, very important from the examination viewpoint. In almost all of the attempt till now, a question of minimum 10 marks has been asked from this particular chapter, standard costing. Okay, beta. But as per my commitment, I will definitely provide a minimum 2-hour session on the basic of intercosting, so that even if student is not comfortable with standard costing at inter level, he or she will be able to cope up with that level of inter and then finally solve the advanced variances that will be applicable at final level. Beta, है ना? So, चलिए start करते हैं बेटा. Give the heading in your copy, chapter number 11. Give the heading in your copy, chapter number 11, standard costing. Chapter number 11, standard costing. First of all, write down beta coverage, what we have to study. Give the heading, what we have to study. Write down the very first topic. Planning and operational variances. Write down the very first topic. Planning and operational variances. समझ गए बेटा ये क्या टॉपिक है? Material price variance, material usage variance, labor rate variance, whatever variance you compute, that variance will be further divided into two parts: planning variance and operational variance. To find out what portion is uncontrollable from the viewpoint of that department and what portion is controllable from the viewpoint of that department. So the topic name is planning and operational variances. Please write down second topic beta. Variance analysis in ABC environment. Variance analysis in activity-based costing environment. In abbreviation, we called it at ABC. इसमें हम क्या देखेंगे? There are two environment. One, the first one is traditional method of recovery of overhead, and the modern method is ABC method, activity-based costing. If company has already implemented activity-based costing, then the computation of overhead variance, will be totally different as compared under traditional variances. ट्रेडिशनल वेरिएंसेस में आप वेरिएबल ओवरहेड के वेरिएंस कंप्यूट करते थे. You will compute fixed overhead variance, while if the organization has implemented activity-based costing, then overhead variance will not be computed like variable overhead variance or fixed overhead variance. Overhead variance will be computed activity-wise. A very, very good topic at final level. Write down the third point. Variance analysis in learning curve environment. Variance analysis in learning curve environment. Write down the fourth important topic, reconciliation of profit. Reconciliation of profit. We are having three methods related to reconciliation of profit. The first method is absorption method. The second method is marginal costing method. Marginal costing method. And the third method is standard costing method. So reconciliation of profit can be asked in the examination through any of the three methods: absorption costing method, marginal costing method, or standard standard costing. Sorry. It's relevant costing method. It's not the standard costing. It's the relevant costing method. So कोई भी मेथड से आपको reconciliation statement पूछा जा सकता था. Even in 2 attempts, a reconciliation statement has been asked even for 20 marks, in which reconciliation statement is required to be prepared through all these three methods: absorption costing method, marginal costing method, and the relevant costing method. है ना? लास्ट में लिख दीजिए बेटा. लास्ट टॉपिक मिसलेनियस टॉपिक्स. छोटे मोटे टॉपिक और है. मिसलेनियस टॉपिक. Now we will start first with inter-level basic. Give the heading in your copy. Basic of CA Inter. So I request each and every student, there can be two categories of student. The student who have not studied this particular chapter, standard costing, at inter-level. The other category of student are the student who have studied this chapter at inter-level and remember some of the points that they have studied at inter-level. I request each and every student to focus on learn, unlearn, and relearn. If you have not studied this chapter, it will be very good for me, because whatever I will communicate to you, you will accept that as it is. Okay, with logical points. Okay, regarding those students who still remember this concept of CA Inter, I request them to follow the concept of learn, unlearn, and relearn. Whatever you have studied at inter level, undoubtedly that is the best method. But at final level, somewhat different approach is required to calculate the same variances: material, labor, variable overhead, fixed overhead, and sale. So I request those students who still remember this chapter to unlearn whatever you have learned at inter level and try to relearn the same concept in a different way that will be applicable for final level advanced variances. Okay, basic of CA Inter. I will start with a very, very simple example. I hope each and every student will participate in the answer giving process of this particular example. Beta, na? Please write down, beta. Please write down this example in your copy. This is the budget for financial year 2021. This is the actual detail of the same financial year 2021. units, 10,000, 12,000. Fixed cost, rupee 12 lakh, rupee 12 lakh 20,000. Sales, 49 lakh rupee, 57 lakh rupee. Raw material, 18 lakh, 20 lakh 10,000. Labor, 6 lakh rupee, 6 lakh 50,000. So I provided you an example in which we have considered the fixed cost, sales, raw material, and labor. A very, very simple example. Can you please tell me what is the variance amount, whether that variance is adverse or whether that variance is favorable? Adverse का मतलब होता है बेटा, if due to that element our profit decreases. अगर हमारा खर्चा बढ़ गया है, जितने रुपए लगने थे उससे अगर हमारे रुपए ज्यादा लग गए, then we will be having adverse variance. While if the actual cost is less than the standard cost, definitely the cost saved will increase our profit, so that will be known as favorable variance. तो आपको क्या करना है बेटा? I am giving you 2 minutes to try on your own. You have to give me the variance in rupee. कितने रुपए का वेरियंस है आप मुझे ये बताइए, प्लस मुझे ये बताइए कि वो वेरियंस एडवर्स है या फेवरेबल है. फॉर एडवर्स वेरियंस वी कैन राइट ए, कैपिटल ए, एंड फॉर फेवरेबल वेरियंस वी कैन डिनोटेड बाय कैपिटल एफ, अल्फाबेट एफ, है ना. तो चलिए बेटा 2 मिनट में आपको देता हूं, क्योंकि इसके आधार पे फिर मैं डिसाइड करूंगा मुझे कितना इंटर लेवल में डीप जाना है आपको कंफर्टेबल फील कराने के लिए, है ना. So this is a very, very important question from my side. Through this question, I will check what depth I have to go to make you comfortable for final level standard costing, है ना. So every student should participate in the calculation part and each and every student should communicate me the answer बेटा. क्योंकि जो अपना communication medium है ना, that is only through the query session. Okay. So unless and until you answer me, I will not able to judge the knowledge of standard costing of your. Based on that, I will decide what in depth I have to go so that all the variances related at final level will be comfortable for you, है ना. For very important example for yourself बेटा, है ना. चलिए 2 मिनट्स में आपको देता हूं, आप एक बार इसको ट्राई कीजिए. मुझे बताइए फिक्स कॉस्ट का कितना वेरियंस है, सेल्स में कितना वेरियंस है, रॉ मटेरियल में कितना वेरियंस है और लेबर में कितना वेरियंस है ना. Along with whether they are adverse or whether they are favorable. Okay, Nisha have answered Okay, beta. Let's check out other student to answer, beta. Nisha. Then I will check. I will communicate whether the answer is correct or not. Other student, please communicate me your answer, beta. Okay, Nisha, no doubt, beta. Please tell me the revised answer. Okay, Naveen Kumar, beta, I got your answer. Gaurav Kumar Mishra, Harish Sharma, Surya Lodi, beta. Tejo, please communicate me your answer. Priya, Priyadarshini, Sai Ram. Okay, beta. Let's check out the answer. The budgeted fixed cost is rupee 12 lakh, while the actual fixed cost is 12 lakh 20,000. So 20,000 has been spent excessively, due to which our cost will increase and definitely the profit will decrease. For 20,000 variance will be the adverse variance. ये हमारे लिए एडवर्स वेरिएंस होगा. सेल्स हमने 49 लाख रुपए का रेवेन्यू सोचा था, while the revenue 57 lakh. We are having 8 lakh rupee of revenue extra, and if there is a increase in the revenue, that will be favorable for us. Sales बढ़ी है हमारी, तो ये हमारे लिए favorable situation है. Regarding the material, 18 lakh rupee का budgeted raw material था, and 20 lakh 10,000 rupee का actual raw material cost incurred हुआ है. So we will be having a adverse variance of 2 lakh 10,000. Clear है? In the same case, we will be having 50,000 adverse variance related to labor. ठीक है बेटा? चलिए. Normally, what answer I have got? The answer is like this: 20,000 adverse till 50,000 adverse. But that is to be understood. The computation of variances related to raw material, related to labor, has been computed wrongly if your answer is 2,10,000 adverse and 50,000 adverse. While luckily, without applying the key concept, you rightly find out the variance related to fixed cost and sale. This we have to understood, beta. जिन बच्चों का आंसर रॉ मटेरियल और लेबर से रिलेटेड 2,10,000 और 50,000 आया है, प्लीज बेटा लिसन वेरी केयरफुली, है ना, बिकॉज दिस मिस्टेक will not be committed at final level, है ना. हमें ये मिस्टेक रिपीट नहीं करना है फाइनल लेवल पे, तो बहुत ध्यान समझिएगा क्या कंसेप्ट है. आई एम अप्लाइंग द फर्स्ट गोल्डन रूल ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड कॉस्टिंग. आई एम अप्लाइंग द फर्स्ट गोल्डन रूल ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड कॉस्टिंग. The first golden rule of standard costing is, first of all, we will discuss beta the golden rule, then I will make you write down those golden rules, है ना. लेकिन पहले आप समझिए what is the golden rule. The golden rule is, whenever you find out the variances, you will compare the actual data with either, important point, with either the budgeted one or the standard one. जब भी आप वेरिएंस फाइंड आउट करते हो, तो आप एक्चुअल डेटा को बजट के साथ कंपेयर करेंगे या एक्चुअल डेटा को आप स्टैंडर्ड के साथ कंपेयर करेंगे. दैट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन द नेचर ऑफ वेरिएंस यू आर ट्राइंग टू फाइंड आउट. सो देयर इज नो फिक्स रूल that to find out the variance, actual data is to be compared with the budgeted one, or actual data is to be compared with standard one. It depends on which type of variances you are trying to figure out it out. So there can be two type of variances: time dependent variance and production dependent variance. Time dependent variance and the production dependent variance. So the first golden rule states that if you are finding out the variances related to time dependent variances, then actual will be compared with budget. But in case you are finding out a variances that is dependent on production, higher the production, higher will be the cost, lower the production, lower will be the cost, then standard actual will be compared with the standard. Okay, beta? First write it down, then we will discuss the same in more detail with examples. Okay, write down the golden rule number 1. Give the heading, beta. Golden rules. We are having 3 golden rules in standard costing. If you apply those 3 golden rules, I will assure you, beta, there will not be any single mistake in standard costing. That's the most important basic of standard costing that you have studied at interlevel. I called it as golden rule. No, please write down, give the heading golden rule. Write down golden rule number 1. Golden rule number 1. इसमें लिखिए बेटा golden rule number 1. For time dependent variances, actual will be compared with budget. For time dependent variances, actual will be compared with budget. एक लाइन ड्रॉप करके लिखे बेटा, गोल्डन रूल 1 ही है लेकिन एक लाइन ड्रॉप करके लिखे. For production dependent variances, actual will be compared with standard. For production dependent variances, actual will be compared with standard. Now, beta, one thing is sure, to compute the variances, actual will be compared. Now, what we have to decide in each every question, whether that actual detail is to be compared with budgeted one or actual detail is to be compared with standard one. है ना? कुछ केसेस में जो टाइम डिपेंडेंट वेरिएंसेस है वहां पे हम एक्चुअल डिटेल को बजट के साथ कंपेयर करते हैं, while in case of production dependent variances, actual will be compared with standard. Now, important question which will arise in your mind, for what's the difference between budget and standard? चलो ये तो हम समझ गए सर theoretically कि for time dependent variances, actual will be compared with budget. For production dependent variances, actual will be compared with standard. Now the important question is, what's the difference between budget and standard? What's the difference between budget and standard? Now this is golden rule number 2. Let's first listen it, beta. Then I will make it write down. First listen. What's the difference between budget and standard? Please listen very carefully, beta. If the budgeted volume and actual volume, are same, then there is no difference between the term budget and standard. Can you repeat the sentence, beta? I am giving you 30 seconds to repeat on your own. What I have said, if the output level, that is, if the budgeted output and the actual output are same, then there will be no difference in budget and standard. We can interchange the terminology budget with the standard, standard with the budget. But in majority of the cases, it's not practically possible that the budgeted output and actual output are same. It's not practically possible. Budgeted output and actual output are same. In case they are different, then there is a difference between the term budget and standard. Now, you will understand what's the difference between budget and standard. Standard is nothing but a budget itself. Standard जो है, यह भी एक budget ही है. But the basic difference between standard and budget is, if budget was prepared for the budgeted output, then the details is known as budgeted detail. अगर बजट बजटेड आउटपुट के लिए बनाया गया है तो वो बजटेड डिटेल है. बट इफ द सेम बजट इफ प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर द एक्चुअल आउटपुट, then that revised budget is known as standard. एक बार हिंदी में बोलता हूं बेटा, फॉर हिंदी मीडियम स्टूडेंट. अगर बजटेड आउटपुट के लिए जो बजट बना है उसे हम बजट बोलते हैं. बट इफ द सेम बजट ही है वो, बट द आउटपुट इज डिफरेंट. व्हाट इज द आउटपुट? अगर एक्चुअल आउटपुट के आधार पे बजट बनाया जाए तो उस बजट को फिर हम स्टैंडर्ड बोलते हैं. हम ये बोलेंगे, अगर बजट 10,000 के लिए नहीं बनाया गया होता, had the budget been prepared for 12,000 units at the start of the year, what would be the detail? If the budget has been prepared for 12,000 units, what would be the detail? Then those budgeted detail are known as standard. So एक बार repeat कीजिए बेटा, concept क्या था? Budget and standard are interchangeable when the output level are same. Where budget and standard are interchangeable when the output level are same, but budget and standard are different when the output are different. That is, the budgeted output and actual output are different. So when a budget is prepared based on actual output, then that budget is known as standard one. तो हम ये दूसरा भी बोल सकते हैं बेटा, टोटलिटी में, in totality, budget and standard cannot be same, but in per unit basis, on per kg basis, budget and standard can be same. है ना? लिखिए बेटा, गोल्डन रूल नंबर 2. थोड़ा सा टाइम लगेगा माइट भी आपको इन चीजों को समझने में, but once you are clear with this point ना बेटा, then definitely there will be no issue related to the inter-level basic. Write down the second point बेटा, golden rule number 2. Golden rule number 2. Except in totality, comma, the budget and standard are interchangeable. Except in totality, budget and standards are interchangeable. इसमें लिखिए बेटा, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, budgeted cost per kg of raw material, can be called as standard cost per kg of raw material. सेकेंड एग्जांपल लिखिए, budgeted labor hours per unit, can be called as budgeted labor hours per unit can be called as standard labor hours per unit. एक लाइन ड्रॉप करके लिखिए, while in totality, एक लाइन ड्रॉप करके लिखिए बेटा, while in totality, कॉमा, बजट एंड स्टैंडर्ड आर नॉट इंटरचेंजेबल। बजट को भी इन्वर्टेड कॉमा में, स्टैंडर्ड को भी इन्वर्टेड कॉमा में। बजट एंड स्टैंडर्ड्स आर नॉट इंटरचेंजेबल। फुल स्टॉप। कंटिन्यू कीजिए बेटा ये लाइन। बजट आर प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर बजटेड आउटपुट। Budget are prepared for budgeted output. While standard is also a budget, while standard is also a budget, but that will be prepared based on, actual output. If you want to write in Hindi, beta, this sentence is very effective. If you want to write in Hindi, you can write this. Actual output के आधार पे, if you want to write in Hindi, you can write this, beta. This is very effective language. For actual output के आधार पे जो बजट बनाया गया है, एक्चुअल आउटपुट के आधार पे जो बजट बनाया गया है, कॉमा, दैट इज द स्टैंडर्ड वन, दैट इज द स्टैंडर्ड वन। अब बेटा 3 से 4, एक काम कीजिए, नेक्स्ट लाइन में पहले आप हेडिंग दे दीजिए गोल्डन रूल नंबर 3, गोल्डन रूल नंबर 3। ये अभी नहीं समझेंगे अपन, वी विल अंडरस्टैंड इट आफ्टर सम टाइम। एंड ड्रॉप द स्टेप 3 to 4 लाइन आप ड्रॉप कर दीजिए बेटा, 3 to 4 लाइन आप ड्रॉप कर दीजिए। चलिए अब आप मुझे बताइए, फिक्स कॉस्ट, रॉ मटेरियल, लेबर एंड वेरिएबल ओवरहेड, इनमें से कौन सा टाइम डिपेंडेंट है, नॉट रिलेटेड विद प्रोडक्शन? अ वेरी सिंपल एग्जांपल क्वेश्चन आई हैव आस्क्ड यू, इन चारों में से कौन सा टाइम डिपेंडेंट है, और सो दैट द रिमेनिंग विल बी द प्रोडक्शन डिपेंडेंट, दैट इज देयर कॉस्ट विल डिपेंडेंट ऑन द नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स प्रोड्यूस। कौन सा बेटा? वेरी गुड। फिक्स कॉस्ट इज टाइम डिपेंडेंट, it has nothing to do with the number of units that has been produced, but direct material, direct labor and variable overhead are production dependent cost. So therefore the golden rule number 1 for time dependent variances, we will compare actual with the budgeted one. Matlab in case of fixed cost and in case of sale, since they are prepared for a particular time, therefore whenever we have to find out the variances related to fixed cost or related to sale, we will compare the actual detail with the budgeted one. हम actual detail को budget के साथ compare करेंगे, because we consider fixed cost and sale as time dependent one. While whenever we will compute the variance related to raw material, related to labor, we will compare the actual detail with the standard one. Actual detail with the स्टैंडर्ड वन, दैट इज अगर 12,000 यूनिट के लिए बजट बनाया गया होता, अगर 12,000 यूनिट के लिए बजट बनाया गया होता, दैट वी कॉल्ड इट एज स्टैंडर्ड। उस डिटेल के साथ जब हम कंपेयर करेंगे, देन द वेरिएंस विल बी कंप्यूटेड लॉजिकली। व्हाट रॉन्ग हैज बीन डन इन दिस पॉइंट बेटा? ₹18 lakh of raw material if required for 10,000 unit, while you actually produce 12,000 unit. While you actually produce 12,000 units, you cannot say that we have incurred ₹2,10,000 additionally. No. Although it appears apparently prima facie that we have incurred ₹2,10,000, for 2,10,000 is adverse variance, ये हमारे प्रॉफिट को कम करेगा, but this is not the logical point. by incurring some extra amount, we have produced from 2000 unit extra. हमारा वॉल्यूम कितने से बढ़ा है? 20% से. So what's the nature of material, labor and variable overhead? They will increase in direct proportion with the increase in production. So 18 lakh रुपए का मटेरियल 10,000 यूनिट्स के लिए है, तो फाइंड आउट कीजिए बेटा. 18 lakhs का मटेरियल 10,000 के लिए है, तो 12,000 के लिए कितना? इट्स 19 lakh 80,000. एक बार फाइंड आउट कीजिए बेटा. Oh no, it's 21 lakh 60,000. 21 lakh 60,000. So 12,000 यूनिट्स के लिए अगर बजट बनाया जाता, बनाया नहीं गया है, बनाया जाता, so then the cost will be 21 lakh 60,000. While for the same level of output, we have incurred just 20 lakh 10,000. It means we have saved 1 lakh 50,000 rupee of material in manufacturing 12,000 finished goods. समझ में आया बेटा? So in case of production dependent variance, that is material, labor and variable overhead, we will compare actual detail with the standard one. और क्या standard क्या है? Standard is nothing. अगर 12,000 यूनिट that is actual output के आधार पर अगर हम बजट बनाएंगे, then that budget is known as standard one. क्लियर है बेटा? तो अब कहीं पे लिखिए बेटा आप इस पॉइंट को, प्लीज राइट डाउन. Time dependent variances are एक के नीचे एक लिखिए बेटा. टाइम डिपेंडेंट वेरिएंसेस आर, पहला पॉइंट लिखिए इसमें, फिक्स कॉस्ट वेरिएंसेस, फिक्स कॉस्ट वेरिएंसेस. सेकेंड पॉइंट लिखिए सेल्स वेरिएंसेस, सेल्स वेरिएंसेस. नेक्स्ट लाइन में लिखे प्रोडक्शन डिपेंडेंट वेरिएंसेस आर, वन बाय वन लिखिए बेटा. रॉ मटेरियल वेरिएंसेस, नेक्स्ट लाइन लेबर वेरिएंसेस, थर्ड पॉइंट लिखिए वेरिएबल ओवरहेड वेरिएंसेस. ये दोनों पॉइंट आपको क्लियर हुए बेटा. गोल्डन रूल, whenever you have to compute the variances, you will compare two data, actual data and other data. Now the most important question is, actual data is to be compared with budgeted one or the standard one. It totally depends on which nature of variances you are computing. If you are computing time dependent variance, that is fixed cost variances and sales variances, then actual will be compared with, बताइए बेटा, अगर आप टाइम डिपेंडेंट वेरिएंस निकाल रहे हैं तो एक्चुअल विल बी कंपेयर्ड विद बजटेड वन. वेरी गुड बेटा, है ना. And if you are finding out the production dependent variances, that is raw material variances, labor variances, variable overhead variances, then actual will be compared with, बोलिए actual will be compared with standard one. ठीक है. Now golden rule number 2. For if there any difference between the word budget and standard, if you are not talking in totality, then there is no difference between the word budget and standard. You can interchange the word budget and standard. But when you are talking in totality, then budget and standard are not same. ये दोनों सेम नहीं है बेटा, फिर है ना. Because budget detail are prepared based on budgeted output, while standard is itself a budget. Undoubtedly, standard is itself a budget, but that budget has been prepared based on actual output. Actual output के आधार पे अगर बजट बनाया गया होता, then what will be our cost? That is known as स्टैंडर्ड वन. ठीक है बेटा, तो ध्यान दीजिएगा यहाँ पे हमारा फिक्स कॉस्ट चूंकि टाइम डिपेंडेंट वेरिएंस है, सो देयरफॉर वी कैन कंपेयर द एक्चुअल डिटेल विद द बजटेड वन, है ना. सो हमारा 20,000 जो एडवर्स आया बिल्कुल परफेक्ट है. सिंस सेल्स इज आल्सो डिपेंडेंट ऑन टाइम, सो वी कैन कंपेयर दिस 2 पॉइंट. फॉर 8 लाख फेवरेबल इज करेक्ट, बट रॉ मटेरियल और लेबर, चूंकि ये कौन से वेरिएंसेस है, प्रोडक्शन डिपेंडेंट वेरिएंस है, तो हमें एक बजट बनाना पड़ेगा, रिवाइज्ड बजट। हमें एक रिवाइज्ड बजट बनाना पड़ेगा, रिवाइज्ड बजट, एंड दैट बजट विल बी बेस्ड ऑन actual output. That budget will be based on actual output. So simply ask a question: if 18 lakh rupee of raw material, if required for 10,000 output, for 12,000 output, what will be the material cost? It will be 21.6 lakh. The same question, beta. If 6 lakh rupee of labor, if required to produce 10,000 units, then how much labor will be required to manufacture 12,000 units? So the answer will be 7.2 lakhs. So in case of production dependent variance, you will compare this two data कि जो आउटपुट आपका आया है, उस आउटपुट को मैन्युफैक्चर करने में 21.6 लाख रुपए इनकर्ड होने चाहिए थे, while for the same level of output you have incurred 20 lakh 10,000. It means you have saved 1 lakh rupee 50,000, due to which my profit will be increased. So therefore 1 lakh 50,000 will be the favorable variances. While in case of labor, output is same. To manufacture the actual output, we must spend 7.2 lakh rupee of labor, while worker, due to their efficiency, have managed to produce the same number of 12,000 units at a cost of 6 lakh 50,000. So in this case also, labor has saved rupees 70,000, due to which my profit will be increased. Therefore, I will be having a favorable labor variances. क्लियर हुआ बेटा आपको ये पॉइंट कि कब हमें एक्चुअल को बजट के साथ कंपेयर करना है, कब हमें एक्चुअल को स्टैंडर्ड के साथ कंपेयर करना है. फॉर व्हाट वी विल डू, आई विल प्रोवाइड यू 2 मिनट, है ना. जो भी अपन ने गोल्डन रूल लिखा है और जो भी एग्जांपल है, एक बार बेटा आप इसको अपने लेवल पे खुद वॉच आउट कीजिए. आफ्टर 2 मिनट वी विल स्टार्ट फ्रॉम फर्दर डिस्कशन रिलेटेड टू द सीए इंटर, है ना. But please utilize this 2 minute whatever I am providing to you for a revision, because ये point बहुत important है. Unless and until you are familiar with this concept, you will not be able to solve any question correctly of standard costing, बेटा ना. तो 2 minutes देता हूँ, एक और बार रीड आउट कीजिए. Multiple revision will keep that concept in your mind permanently, बेटा ना. For 2 minutes are available with you. ओके बेटा, स्टार्ट करें. अब देखिए बात. Please give the heading raw material variances. Please give the heading raw material variances. So there can be a maximum of 5 variances that will be computed for raw material, है ना? So raw material variances है, तो बताइए हम बेटा स्टैंडर्ड को कंपेयर करेंगे या हम एक्चुअल को कंपेयर करेंगे? जल्दी से मुझे बताइए. For raw material variances, we will compare budget with actual or standard with actual. Definitely, we will compare the standard. एक काम करें, आप ऐसे लिखिए बेटा, it will be more effective, है ना? It will be more effective. बजट लिखिए और बजट को फिर यहाँ पे क्रॉस कीजिए और अब यहाँ पे लिखिए आप स्टैंडर्ड. This is a very effective technique for revision purpose, beta. Because simply if you write standard with actual, might be at the revision time you will not be able to correlate that I have not to compare the budget with the actual one. But if you have written the word budget, make it cross it out, then at the revision time you will be able to recall the logic. Oh, in raw material variance, since it's a production dependent variance, we will not compare the budget with the actual, we will compare standard with the actual. And what is standard? Clear है बेटा? एक्चुअल आउटपुट के आधार पर अगर बजट बनाया जाता, so what will be the raw material cost? If budget is prepared based on actual output, then what will be the raw material cost? That is known as standard raw material cost, है ना? तो देखिए क्या क्या वेरिएंस हम इसमें फाइंड आउट करेंगे. We will find out the raw material cost variance. Now this will be bifurcated into two parts. Material usage variance and material price variance. First of all, we will find out the raw material cost variance. Then raw material cost variance will be further bifurcated into material usage variance and material price variance. है ना? But in case you are having more than one type of raw material, I am not talking about the quantity, more than one type of raw material to be utilized in a production process, then material usage variance will be further bifurcated into two parts. Material sub usage variance, जिसे हम कभी कभी yield variance भी बोलते हैं, material sub usage variance and material mix variance. So there can be a maximum of 5 variances that can be computed for material. Material cost variance, that will be bifurcated into two parts, material usage variance and material price variance. If we are having two or more than two type of raw material, then material usage variance can be further bifurcated into sub usage variance and material mix variance. Okay, beta. Now there are certain terminologies. SQ, AQ, AO, FP, AP. First of all, let it be very clear, beta. Whenever the alphabet Q is used, it will be related with raw material. Alphabet Q will never be used in standard costing to denote finished goods. जो अल्फाबेट Q है बेटा, ये हमेशा हम रॉ मटेरियल के लिए यूज करते, कभी भी अल्फाबेट Q हम आउटपुट फिनिश गुड्स के लिए यूज नहीं करते हैं. सो actual AQ and AO are not same. AQ and AO are not same. If I'm a shirt manufacturer, then AQ is actual quantity of fabric used. If I'm the shirt manufacturer, while AO is actual shirts manufactured. So always remember, beta, whenever the alphabet Q is used, that alphabet Q will always be related to quantity of raw material it will be never related to denote the output. Output will always be denoted by alphabet O, है ना? So ये ध्यान रखिएगा, बहुत कॉमन नहीं तो कंफ्यूजन होता है बिटवीन द अल्फाबेट Q एंड O. जब भी हम रॉ मटेरियल की बात करेंगे तो वी विल यूज द अल्फाबेट Q, बट जब भी हम आउटपुट फिनिश गुड्स की बात करेंगे वी विल यूज द अल्फाबेट O, है ना? सो व्हाट इज FQ? इट इज स्टैंडर्ड क्वांटिटी ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल. What is SQ? It's the standard quantity of raw material. What is AQ? It's the actual quantity of raw material. What is AO? AQ and AO are not similar. AO is actual output, that is actual finished goods. What is FP? Standard price of raw material. To purchase 1 kg of raw material, what should be the price? What should be the price? That is known as standard price of raw material. While the actual rate at which you have purchased the raw material is known as actual price of raw material, है ना? ठीक है बेटा, तो क्लियर हुआ. AQ and AO are not same. Please write down in the copy बेटा in top margin. AQ is not equal to AO. AQ is not equal to AO. Please give the explanation. AQ is actual quantity of raw material. AQ is actual quantity of raw material. While AO is actual output, that is finished goods. While AO is actual output, that is finished goods. While AO is actual output, that is finished goods. So हमेशा याद रखिएगा बेटा, there is difference between the alphabet Q and O. Now, usage variance, मटेरियल कम लगा है या ज्यादा लगा है, इफ द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट. इट्स द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट. While material price variance is the responsibility of purchase department. So credit or the responsibility will be fixed related to the price for purchase department, while material usage credit or responsibility will be given to the प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट, है ना बेटा? चलिए, अब मैं आपको एक स्टेटमेंट बना रहा हूं, आप मुझे बताइएगा उनमें क्या सिमिलरिटी है. दिस स्टेटमेंट विल बी वेरी हेल्पफुल. देखिए मैं क्या कम्युनिकेट करना चाहता हूं. अगर हम रॉ मटेरियल की बात करेंगे तो देयर आर 5 फॉर्मूलाज. इफ वी टॉक अबाउट लेबर, देयर आर अगेन 5 फॉर्मूलाज. इफ वी टॉक अबाउट वेरिएबल ओवरहेड, हमें 3 फॉर्मूले याद करने पड़ेंगे. इफ वी टॉक अबाउट द सेल्स, देयर आर 10 फॉर्मूले. 5 for the turnover approach, 5 for the margin approach. So in total, there are 23 formulas. But in examination, beta, it's not practically possible that student may remember each and every 23 formula. So हमें कुछ एक ऐसी मेथड डिराइव करना पड़ेगा कि हम कभी भी एग्जामिनेशन में इन फॉर्मूले में ना उलझे, है ना? हमें 23 फॉर्मूला याद करने की बिल्कुल भी जरूरत ना पड़े. क्या इसका कोई अल्टरनेट मैकेनिज्म है? एंड द आंसर इज यस. आई विल प्रोवाइड अ वेरी सिंपल स्टेटमेंट. बेस्ड ऑन इट वी विल सॉल्व ऑल द 23 फॉर्मूले. यू डोंट हैव टू मग अप द कंटेंट वेयर SQ will be used, where AQ will be used. Nowhere. Simply you have to follow 3 rules. Based on 3 rules, that statement will be prepared and that statement will replace all these 23 फॉर्मूले. सिर्फ जो फिक्स कॉस्ट के वेरिएंस है बेटा, उसके लिए ये जो अपन रूल बनाएंगे अभी वो काम नहीं आएंगे. बाकी फॉर 23 फॉर्मूले यू डोंट हैव टू मग अप, जस्ट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर दोस 3 स्टेप. इफ यू फॉलो दोस 3 स्टेप, डेफिनेटली यू विल बी एबल टू सॉल्व ईच एंड एवरी क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू द 23 फॉर्मूलाज, है ना? सो पहले मैं वो एक स्टेटमेंट एक बार बना देता हूं. वी विल कंपेयर व्हाट विल बी द डिफरेंस, देन आई विल मेक यू लर्न हाउ दैट स्टेटमेंट विल बी प्रिपेयर्ड बाय यू. Once you understood the concept, beta, then there is no need to mug up those 23 formulas, है ना। चलिए, तो देखिए क्या कंसेप्ट है उसका। अभी आप मत लिखिएगा बेटा, अभी आप मत लिखिए, अभी सिर्फ आप समझिए। डोंट राइट राइट नाउ बेटा ना, प्लीज ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड इट फर्स्ट। चलिए मुझे बताइए बेटा, कॉलम नंबर सेकंड और थर्ड में क्या सिमिलरिटी है? व्हाट इज द सिमिलरिटी इन कॉलम नंबर 2 and 3? सो दैट कैन नॉट बी अ वेरियांस। वो जो चीज सिमिलर है उससे रिलेटेड हम उसको वेरियांस नहीं बोलेंगे। एंड व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन कॉलम नंबर सेकंड एंड कॉलम नंबर थर्ड? सो जो डिफरेंस आएगा हम वो डिनोट करेंगे कि यस, डिफरेंस बिटवीन कॉलम नंबर सेकंड and column number third is due to this point, therefore this variance is called as dash. Okay, so tell me the similarity in column number 2 and column number 3. So उससे related वो variance find out नहीं होगा। and tell me the difference in column number 2 and column number 3. I'm asking you a very simple question beta na, please try to participate in the discussion part. वेरी गुड बेटा। तो कॉलम नंबर 2 और 3 में क्या सिमिलरिटी है? इन बोथ द कॉलम द quantities are same, the quantity of raw material are same. In column number 2 there is actual quantity, in column number 3 there is also the actual quantity. So the quantities are same, so there cannot be a difference related to the usage consumption. What is the difference? This actual quantity is to be purchased at this price, that is standard price of raw material, while the same actual quantity is being purchased at this price known as actual price of raw material. So column number 2 और column number 3 में प्राइस का डिफरेंस है, वहां पे क्वांटिटी सेम है। so whatever be the difference of column number 2 and 3, that will be called as material price variance. Suppose the amount is 10,000 while here the amount is 10,200. तो हम बोलेंगे कॉलम नंबर 2 और 3 में जो भी डिफरेंस आ रहा है, that difference of ₹200 is due to material price variance. क्लियर है बेटा? चलिए अब आते हैं अपन इधर, मान के चलिए 9700 है। अब आप मुझे बताइए कॉलम नंबर 1 और 2 में, कॉलम नंबर 1 और 2 में दो सिमिलरिटी है। दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। कॉलम नंबर 1 और कॉलम नंबर 2 में दो सिमिलरिटी है और एक डिफरेंस है ना। टेल मी दोस टू सिमिलरिटीज इन कॉलम नंबर 1 and 2 and one difference in column number 2 and 1 and 2. So whatever be the difference of 9700 minus 10,000, that will be communicated as the वेरियांस। वो यूसेज वेरियांस होगा कि प्राइस वेरियांस होगा, वो डिफरेंस के आधार पे ही हमें पता लगेगा बेटा ना। चलिए मुझे बताइए बेटा, क्या दो सिमिलरिटी है और क्या डिफरेंस है दोनों में? दोनों सिमिलरिटी चाहिए बेटा, दैट्स द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट। एंड द फर्स्ट सिमिलरिटी इज अपरेंट फ्रॉम द स्क्रीन, द सेकंड सिमिलरिटी इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट शुड बी, यू शुड ऑलवेज रिमेंबर while computing the variance related to material, labor and variable overhead, है ना। चलिए टाइम देता हूं बेटा, आप पार्टिसिपेट कीजिए डिस्कशन पार्ट में। So the similarity in column number 1 and 2, if in both the column the standard price of, it's not the sale price beta, no, it's the standard price of raw material. The standard price of raw material are same. And the second point is very very important. There is also one similarity, and that similarity is very important. पहली सिमिलरिटी तो ये है कि दोनों ही जगह स्टैंडर्ड प्राइस ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल है, एंड दूसरी सिमिलरिटी ये है दोनों ही जगह एक्चुअल आउटपुट का क्वांटिटी है। एक्चुअल आउटपुट को मैन्युफैक्चर करने के लिए such quantities are required known as standard quantity, while to manufacture the same output we have consumed the such quantity, that is the actual quantity. तो फर्स्ट और सेकेंड कॉलम में स्टैंडर्ड प्राइस ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल सेम है, एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली फर्स्ट और सेकेंड कॉलम में आउटपुट सेम है। दिस इज द आउटपुट फॉर विच मटेरियल हैज बीन कंज्यूम्ड, while for to manufacture such output we require such quantity of raw material known as standard quantity or quantity, है ना। तो स्टैंडर्ड क्वांटिटी इज नथिंग बट एक्चुअल आउटपुट के आधार पे अगर हमने बजट बनाया होता, so what will be the material quantity that is known as standard quantity. so दोनों में अल्टीमेटली किस बात का डिफरेंस है, इतनी क्वांटिटी लगनी चाहिए टू मैन्युफैक्चर द आउटपुट, while to manufacture the same output we have consumed such quantity. So the difference between column number 1 and 2 is the consumption quantity of raw material. Therefore this variance will be denoted by material usage variance. Therefore this variance will be denoted by material usage variance. अब ये स्टेटमेंट कैसे बनाना है मैं आपको बताता हूं बेटा, बट राइट नाउ हैव यू अंडरस्टूड द डिफरेंस कि 1 और 2 में क्या डिफरेंस है, 2 और 3 में क्या डिफरेंस है। यू डोंट हैव टू मग अप कि 1 और 2 में डिफरेंस है, यू कैन इजीली अपेरेंटली, कि पहली बार आप इस तरीके से पढ़ रहे हैं बेटा तो माइट बी इट विल टेक टाइम, बट वंस वी गॉन टू 2 or 3 क्वेश्चन, नाउ दैट विल बी वेरी कंफर्टेबल फॉर यू। द डिफरेंस बिटवीन कॉलम नंबर 1 इज ड्यू टू द क्वांटिटी बिकॉज देयर इज अ क्वांटिटी डिफरेंस। ओके, नाउ सिमिलरली लेबर के केस में अगर मैं बात करूंगा बेटा, अगर मैं लेबर वेरिएंसेस की बात करूं तो लेबर वेरिएंसेस भी दो पार्ट में बाइफरकेट होगा। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लेबर कॉस्ट वेरिएंस विल बी बाइफरकेटेड इनटू टू पार्ट्स। एफिशिएंसी वेरिएंस and rate variance. And if two or more categories of labor, I'm not talking about two or more workers, two or more categories of labor, skilled, unskilled are used, then this will be further subdivided into two parts, sub efficiency variance and mix variance. अभी आप मत लिखिएगा बेटा ना, इसको लिख दिया तो भी ठीक है, नहीं लिखा तो भी ठीक है अभी ना। नाउ आई एम अगेन प्रोवाइडिंग यू द सेम पॉइंट, कॉलम नंबर 1, 2 and 3. टेल मी द डिफरेंस एंड नाउ लेट्स चेक इट आउट. इट विल बी वेरी सिंपल फॉर यू नाउ टू फाइंड आउट द डिफरेंस. अब आप मुझे बताइए कॉलम नंबर 1 और 2 में क्या सिमिलरिटी है और क्या डिफरेंस है, और उस डिफरेंस के कारण हम उसे कौन सा वेरिएंस बोलेंगे. नाउ इट्स वेरी सिंपल फॉर यू बेटा. चलिए एक बार आप अपने लेवल पे ट्राई कीजिए. व्हाट इज द सिमिलरिटी बिटवीन कॉलम नंबर 2 and 3? व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस? So difference of column number 2 and 3 can be called as which variance? What are the two similarity? यहां पे भी आपको दो सिमिलरिटी मिलेगी in column number 1 and 2 and only one difference in column number 1 and 2. The difference will be known as which variance. You can easily communicate बेटा. देखिए एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन करने कंसेप्ट समझने के बाद ही you are independent to identify the difference and to give the nomenclature what this difference will be called, whether it will be called efficiency variance or whether this will be called rate variance. मैं 2 मिनट का टाइम दे रहा हूं, एक बार आप अपनी तरफ से कोशिश कीजिए. Then we will learn how to make such statement, है ना, how to make such statement. 2 मिनट्स का टाइम है बेटा आपके पास. Okay, beta. So the difference in between column number second and third is due to the rate of labor. The similarity is in both the column, the actual hours of labor are there. So there cannot be difference of hour in column number second and third. The difference is due to the rate. If rate पर हमें payment करना चाहिए था, while we have paid the labor through this rate, so the difference will be called as rate variance, labor rate variance. Okay, beta. And what's the two similarity in column number 1 and 2? The very first similarity is in both the column, the standard rate of labor is being used. And the second one is actual output. And the second one is actual output. First column में जो हमने hours लिखा है, that hours is required to manufacture this output. While for the same level of output, we have consumed such labor hour, actual hour. So the difference between column number 1 and 2 is due to efficiency of labor. उस output के लिए इतने hour लगने चाहिए थे, while for the same level of output we have consumed such labor hour. So this difference is known as efficiency variance. तो देखिए बेटा बहुत ही सिंपल है. You don't have to mug up any of the 23 formulae. 5 formulae for material, 5 formulae for labor, 3 formula for variable and 10 formula for fail. You simply have to remember this 3 rule, what we will write down now. Based on that 3 rule, you will be able to derive this statement, and thereafter it will be very simple to compare the detail and find out the variance So please write it down, beta. How to make the variance statement. Give the heading. How to make the variance statement. Variance statement को हम कैसे बनाएंगे? How to make the variance statement. Please write it down, beta. Rule number 1. Rule number 1. In case of single type of raw material, there will be 3 columns. Two or more type of raw material. Two or more type of raw material. There will be 4 columns. Single type of raw material. I'm not talking about single quantity of raw material. To manufacture a shirt, we require fabric, thread, buttons. That is known as type of raw material. So अगर एक ही type of raw material है, so we will prepare 3 columns. In case 2 or more type of raw material, we will prepare 4 columns. And beta, at final level, you will find out majority of the question, you will find out single type of raw material. Very rare question you will find out about 2 or more type of raw material. The same will be modified for labor. In case of single category of labor, there will be 3 columns. In case of 2 or more categories of labor, skilled, unskilled, men, women, there will be 4 columns. So rule will remain same for all. In case of single type of product, 3 columns. In case of 2 or more type of product finished goods, we will prepare 4 columns. So rule will remain same, no doubt about that. You have to learn only 3 rule, beta, nothing more than that. Okay. Second rule. In case of material, every column will be a multiplication of 2 factor. अगर मुझे material cost find out करना है, so what 2 factor I will multiply? Quantity into price. Quantity into price of raw material. If I have to find out the labor cost, what will be the 2 multiplication? Hour into rate. If I have to find out the revenue, sales revenue, 2 चीजें बताइए क्या multiply होगी बेटा? अगर मुझे sales revenue निकालना है, forget about the budgeted sale revenue और the actual sale revenue. अगर sale revenue आपको find out करना है, आप किन दो चीजों को multiply करेंगे? You will multiply the output multiply by sale price. So it's very simple. So ध्यान दीजिएगा बेटा. In case of raw material, every column will be multiplied by quantity into price, quantity of raw material multiplied by price of raw material. Now the important confusion that will appear in the mind of student, in which formula we have to use the standard quantity or actual quantity or the actual price or the standard price. So the rule is very simple. Rule number 2. In first column, quantity will be standard. And in rest of the column, it will be AQ. This will be a very, very simple method, beta. Right now, might be you are facing some difficulty, but trust me, beta, once you go through this variance statement, your journey to standard costing will be very simple. I guarantee you. So please, please, please try to learn from this new concept, new way of finding the variances. It will be very helpful to find out the advanced variances that are covered in the final syllabus. Without this, you will be able to confuse yourself, beta. Na? So it's very important. It's very simple, beta. अगर एक single type of raw material 3 column बनना है, so 2 or more type of raw material 4 column बनना है. अब हर column material में quantity into price होगा. So now the confusion is where to write standard quantity, where to write actual quantity. So the rule is very simple. In first column, quantity will be standard. बाकी जितने भी कॉलम है, 2 कॉलम है, 3 कॉलम है, 4 कॉलम है, सभी जगह हमारी एक्चुअल क्वांटिटी आएगी. सिमिलरली in last column, price will be actual price, and in rest remaining it will be standard price. ये भी रूल बहुत सिंपल है. क्वांटिटी मल्टीप्लाई बाय प्राइस होगा. क्वांटिटी तो आपने डिसाइड कर लिया कि इन द फर्स्ट कॉलम क्वांटिटी विल बी स्टैंडर्ड, इन रेस्ट ऑफ द कॉलम क्वांटिटी विल बी एक्चुअल. While in last column, price will be actual, while in the rest of the column, quantity price will be the standard price. In case of 4 column, put R in quantity. क्या मतलब है इसका, मैं आपको समझाता हूं बेटा. पुट आर, अल्फाबेट आर आपको पुट अप करना है इन क्वांटिटी. अगर 4 कॉलम बन रहे हैं आपके, इन केस ऑफ 4 कॉलम, पुट आर इन क्वांटिटी ऑफ सेकेंड कॉलम. अगर 4 कॉलम, और 4 कॉलम कब बनते हैं? व्हेन वी आर हैविंग 2 और मोर टाइप ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल, व्हेन वी आर हैविंग 2 और मोर कैटेगरीज ऑफ लेबर, व्हेन वी आर हैविंग 2 और मोर प्रोडक्ट्स, तब हमारे 4 कॉलम बनते हैं. तो 4 कॉलम अगर बन रहे हैं तो हम अल्फाबेट आर पुट अप करते हैं सेकेंड कॉलम में. क्या मतलब होता है देखते बेटा, है ना. चलिए अब आइए बेटा, इसी रूल के आधार पे अपन रॉ मटेरियल के वेरिएंसेस फाइंड आउट करते हैं. इसी रूल के आधार पे वी विल फाइंड आउट द रॉ मटेरियल वेरिएंसेस. प्लीज राइट डाउन अलोंग विथ मी बेटा ना. अब हम बात कर रहे हैं सिंगल टाइप ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल. चलिए बेटा बताइए, सिंगल टाइप ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल में हाउ मेनी कॉलम्स विल बी देयर. प्लीज पार्टिसिपेट बेटा. आपको मुझे रिवर्ट नहीं करना है, लेकिन मन ही मन में आप जवाब देते जाइए बेटा ना. हाउ मेनी कॉलम्स विल बी प्रिपेयर्ड? 3 columns will be prepared. Column number 1, column number 2, column number 3. This is the very first rule, that in case of single type of raw material, 3 columns will be prepared. In case of 2 or more type of raw material, 4 columns will be prepared. So we have applied rule number 1. Now, in case of material, every column will be a multiplication of 2 factor, quantity into price. Quantity into price. Now the confusion. Which column will contain standard quantity and which column will contain actual quantity? So we have written rule number 2. In the first column, the quantity will be the standard one, and in all the other column, the quantity will be the actual one. Clear hai? In the last column, the price will be the actual one, while will on the in rest of the column the price will be the standard one. Khatam ho gaya beta. And similarly, and most importantly, the same rule will be applicable for labor. The same rule will be applicable for variable overhead. The same rule will be applicable for failure. Yeah, that's the most important part of this rule. So if statement को अगर आपने समझ लिया three rule को, so you don't have to mug up those 23 formulae. That will definitely make your life easier for final level advanced variances बेटा, है ना. वहां पे हम फॉर्मूले में नहीं उलझ सकते, तो उसके लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ये वाला तरीका. अब मुझे आप बताइए क्या सिमिलरिटी है 2 और 3 में? क्वांटिटी सिमिलर, सो इट विल बी कॉल्ड एज मटेरियल प्राइस वेरिएंस. क्या डिफरेंस है कॉलम नंबर 1 और 2 में? इट इज रिलेटेड टू द क्वांटिटी ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल कंज्यूम, सो इट विल बी मटेरियल यूसेज वेरिएंस. ओके बेटा. अब जल्दी से मुझे आप लेबर वेरिएंसेस में इसी प्रकार से मुझे बना के बताइए. लेबर वेरिएंसेस में अगर सिंगल कैटेगरी ऑफ लेबर है, सिंगल कैटेगरी ऑफ लेबर मीन्स हमारे यहां तो सिर्फ स्किल्ड वर्कर ही काम करते हैं. सो इन दैट केस देयर विल बी 3 कॉलम. एवरी कॉलम विल बी मल्टीप्लीकेशन ऑफ लेबर में बताइए 2 चीजों का मल्टीप्लीकेशन होगा बेटा टू फाइंड आउट द लेबर कॉस्ट. आवर डिनोटेड बाय एच मल्टीप्लाई बाय रेट डिनोटेड बाय आर, तो एच इंटू आर. सेम रूल है. अब आप जल्दी से कॉन्फिडेंस गेन कीजिए, मुझे बताइए लेबर वेरिएंसेस का ये स्टेटमेंट कैसे बनेगा और कॉलम नंबर 1 और 2 को हम क्या बोलेंगे और कॉलम नंबर 2 और 3 को क्या बोलेंगे. किसे हम एफिशिएंसी वेरिएंस बोलेंगे, किसे हम रेट वेरिएंस बोलेंगे. चलिए बेटा मैं आपको समय देता हूं 2 मिनट्स का. जल्दी से मुझे आप ये स्टेटमेंट बना के बताइए लेबर वेरिएंसेस में सिंगल कैटेगरी ऑफ लेबर में हम कैसे बनाएंगे. और याद रखिएगा बेटा जब भी आप लेबर कॉस्ट निकालेंगे इट विल बी अ मल्टीप्लीकेशन ऑफ आवर डिनोटेड बाय एच इंटू आर रेट, है ना. चलिए 2 मिनट्स है आपके पास. Trust me, beta, it will be the most simplest method to deal with those 23 formulas. ओके निशा बेटा, थैंक यू. चलिए 30 सेकंड और है बेटा, सभी स्टूडेंट ट्राई कीजिए. बहुत बहुत सिंपल है. आई गारंटी यू डोंट हैव टू मग अप दोस 23 फॉर्मूलेस. चलिए देखिए बेटा, सिंगल कैटेगरी ऑफ लेबर है, सो वी विल प्रिपेयर 3 कॉलम 1, 2 and 3. Okay, to find out the labor cost every column will be a multiplication of hour into rate. This is the very simple logic. Now where to put the standard hour and actual hour? Rule number 2, in column number 1 the hour will be standard, in rest of the column the hour will be actual. Regarding the rate, in the last column the hour will the rate will be the actual, and in the remaining it will be standard one. कितने भी कॉलम बने बेटा 3-4 कॉलम, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. दिस रूल विल ऑलवेज रिमेन सेम. नाउ इट्स वेरी इजी फॉर यू टू कंपेयर द डिफरेंस and give the nomenclature to the variance. है ना? Since the difference is related to rate, this is known as labor rate variance. Since the difference is related to hour, this is known as labor efficiency variance. Labor efficiency variance. ठीक है बेटा? चलिए. Now we will move towards further basic of intercosting, that is sales variance. Now this is very, very important. You have to understood it very carefully. It is the most important part of interlevel sales variance. Give the heading beta, sales variance. चलिए जल्दी से आप मुझे बताइए अब सेल्स वेरिएंस में हम किन दो डिटेल को कंपेयर करेंगे. विच टू डिटेल विल बी कंपेयर्ड इन सेल्स वेरिएंस, वेदर इट्स एक्चुअल कंपेयर्ड विद बजट or it's actual compared with standard. Don't revert to me beta through query. Just think on your own. We have already revised this concept at the starting of the session of standard costing. In sales variance, which detail will be compared? Actual will be compared with budget one or actual will be compared with standard one to find out the sales variance. And the answer is budget will be compared with actual. Budget will be compared with actual to find out the sales variance because it's a time dependent variance. So in fixed cost and in sales, since they are both are dependent on time, therefore actual detail will be compared with the budget detail. Actual detail will be compared with the budget detail. तो budget को हम यहाँ पे actual से compare करेंगे. While to find out the raw material, labor and variable overhead variance, we will compare the actual detail with the standard one. है ना बेटा? ठीक है. अब पहला पॉइंट लिखे बेटा आप यहाँ पे. Time period must be same. Time period must be same in order to make comparison. What I mean to say, suppose the budget is given for a period of 12 months. The budget is given for a period of 12 months. While the actual is given for a period of say 3 months, a quarter. So you cannot compare a budget of 12 months with the actual of 3 months. For the very first requirement in sales variance is time period must be same in order to make comparison. It means budget ka time period or actual ka time period must be same. Now the question for if they are not same, then what to do? Then if budget is given for a year while actual is given for a quarter, so accordingly you have to prepare the budget, accordingly you have to convert the budget, not to prepare the budget, accordingly you have to convert the budget for a quarter. In this we will assume that sale will remain same in each and every month in the absence of information. तो मान के चलिए बेटा हमें बताया गया है कि 1,20,000 यूनिट्स का बजटेड आउटपुट है फॉर अ 12 months period. So we will convert that 1,20,000 divided by 12 into 3 is equal to 30,000. So now 30,000 will be for a quarter, while the actual sales detail are also for the quarter. Now they both are comparable. So time period must be same in order to make comparison. इसी में आगे लिखिए बेटा. That is budgeted time period. That is budgeted time period and actual time period must be same. That is budgeted time period and actual time period must be same. Full stop. In case they are not same, comma, convert the budgeted period, convert the budget according to the actual period. Convert the budget according to the actual time period. क्लियर हुआ बेटा? ये पहला पॉइंट ऐसा बहुत सारे पॉइंट हमें सीखना है. मोर देन 7 to 8 पॉइंट वी मस्ट लर्न इन सेल्स एरिया, then only you will be able to solve the question. Okay beta, so this is the very first point. Second point, कॉस्ट वेरिएंस के केस में जनरली क्या होता है बेटा? स्टैंडर्ड अगर ज्यादा है एंड एक्चुअल इज लेस, वी कॉल्ड इट एज फेवरेबल वेरिएंस. की स्टैंडर्ड कॉस्ट ज्यादा थी जबकि एक्चुअल कॉस्ट कम लगी है, सो वी कॉल्ड इट एज फेवरेबल वेरिएंस. वेरी सिंपल. जस्ट अपोजिट बेटा, इफ द स्टैंडर्ड इज लेस while the actual cost incurred is more, we called it as adverse variance. है ना? हमारा खर्चा ज्यादा लग गया तो ये हमारे लिए एडवर्स सिचुएशन है. While in case of sales variance, we do not compare the standard with the actual, we compare the budget with the standard. So यहां पर बजट, यहां पर एक्चुअल, सेम सिचुएशन में यहां पे लेता हूं. बजट अगर ज्यादा है, एक्चुअल अगर कम है, सो वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दिस वी कॉल्ड इट एज एडवर्स वेरिएंस. कंपेयर रखिएगा बेटा, है ना? कॉस्ट वेरिएंस में अगर स्टैंडर्ड कॉस्ट ज्यादा है, उस आउटपुट को बनाने के लिए कॉस्ट ज्यादा लगनी चाहिए, while the actual cost is low, we called it as favorable variance whenever we compute the cost variance. क्योंकि वहां पर if cost is less, then our profit will increase. But in case of sales variance, it will be opposite. If budgeted details are more while the actual detail is less, then it will be called as adverse variance. For example, just you consider that for a quarter, the budgeted unit should be 30,000 units. The budgeted unit should be 30,000 units, while the actual unit sold is 28,000 units. In this situation, budgeted detail is more while the actual detail is less. But it's an adverse variance, क्योंकि अगर सेल यूनिट्स कम होगी, then definitely our revenue will be less. If our revenue will be less, that will impact our profit adversely. So यहां पर आपने यूनिट कम बेचा है, since sale is related denoting income. So if income is less than the budgeted, then it will be an adverse situation. Reverse beta. If budget is less while the actual is more, it will be called a favorable situation. आपने इनकम कम सोचा था, while the income is more as compared to the budget, so more income means a favorable situation for us. तो याद रखिएगा बेटा, very very important, because in reverse working question it assumes the most important part, because sign will change. In adverse variance we are having a negative sign, while in favorable variance we are having positive mathematical symbol. तो ये पॉइंट जरूर ध्यान रखिएगा. कॉस्ट है बेटा, वहां पे कॉस्ट ज्यादा बढ़ रही है, इट इज अ एडवर्स सिचुएशन. while in case of income, if budget is more while the actual is less, it means we have not achieved the budgeted income, therefore it will be an adverse situation. While if our actual exceeds the budget, it means we have achieved the budgeted income, although we have exceeded the budgeted income also, that will be a favorable situation for us. The second point बेटा आज का, इसमें और भी कई सारे पॉइंट हमें अभी स्टिल पढ़ना है सेल्स वेरिएंस में. अ वेरी वेरी लेंथी बेसिक टॉपिक ऑफ सीए इंटर, which we will cover in next session बेटा, है ना? So till now, if you are having any doubt बेटा, you can ask related to the standard costing. And please, I request each and every student to please have a revision before the next session, because our next session will now be on February 22. So February 22 में आपका 3 to 4 days का जो difference हो जाएगा ना बेटा, that will create some confusion, है ना? So it's better that before watching that session on February 22 related to the first session on standard costing, please have a revision of whatever we have learned today related to the basic of material, related to the basic of labor, and some basic of sales variance, and most importantly those 3 golden rules, है ना? That are the most important golden rule. Based on that, whole standard costing is based. Okay बेटा, so thank you for watching the session बेटा. God bless you all. Have a great day ahead. And please don't forget to watch the International Student Conference. That will definitely help you a lot in your career, beta. है ना? Thank you. Thanks a lot, beta. Team, please end the session. साईराम, डेफिनेटली फेल्स को हम टाइम में, नहीं तो वहां पे क्वांटिटी अगर सेम हो जाएगी बेटा, देन देयर विल बी नो वेरिएंस रिलेटेड टू द वॉल्यूम वेरिएंस, because in sales there can be two different, one is related with volume and the other is related with price. So if we do not consider sale variance in time, keeping the quantity same, then there will be no volume variance related to the sales, है ना? कभी भी सेल्स बजट बनता है ना, तो हमेशा टाइम के आधार पे बनता है. 1 मंथ के लिए इतना, तो 2 मंथ्स के लिए जस्ट डबल, 2 मंथ्स के लिए जस्ट डबल. Technical team, please end the session.